Girl, you mash up my world.
We are finally here. It's closing night. And I don't want to say too much, I just want to get to it. Thank you to everyone that participated in public speaking. This was just a vision. When we planned this, we had what we wanted to achieve, but of course it was all up to you to make that happen, to fill up the numbers so that we could start with the many people that we started with and go down that way. I think we did well together, so thank you. I'm now going to read out the top 5, and these are the 5 people who are going to speak in the final. I will give you your motion as soon as I've read your names. You may prepare it as soon as you've received it. You're all going to speak on the same topic, and this is just so we can judge you. It's easier to judge everyone if we're all speaking on the same thing. So, in no particular order, the following people will be speaking in the final. Ruamelo Ngwenya, Miriam Rioba, Begimpi Ngwenya, Daniel Obeng, and Jeremiah Seche. Right. So those 5 people, please make sure that you see me. Please make sure that you see me just to make sure that your names are spelled correctly. And then the 10 adjudicators that will be adjudicating tonight: Bothwell Chikoto, Kelly Kwame Korchel, Edify Piri, Hilary Njogu Monroe, Kemayo Ornell, Kemoge Joseph Joel, Kofi Tum, Rose Ndichu, Sharon Mauti, and Solomon Omani Mensa. Thank you. Oh, your topic is Uhuru na Umoja, freedom and unity.
Okay. Good evening, Africa. My name is Kunta Kinte, and I've taken this 5-minute break from the afterlife to come and give you a message from the ancestors. So, you want to be free. Let me tell you first and foremost why we lost our freedom in the first place. I was a man, minding my own business, wearing a loincloth, giving thanks to the earth, the sun, and the moon, trying by all means necessary to feed my family. But out of nowhere comes some funny guy jumping off a boat, unbathed, unshaven, walks up to me and tells me lies about the history of my people, lies exactly where exactly I come from, rapes my wife and my children, puts me on a boat to go work a job that I don't even want to do against my will, and whips me on my back just because my name is Kunta Kinte. But then, history has evolved. We might have gained our freedom physically, but we haven't gained it mentally. And let me tell you how you can actually gain that freedom mentally. First and foremost, stop believing the lies that you're being told that you are inferior because you're black. Stop believing the lies that you're being told that you're a second-class citizen because you are white. Let me give you a few examples of the people in this tournament. Anam, wherever you are sitting, you are not a Peter Pan. Do you understand? You're African. You are Pan-African. Tutsiamo. Each and every one of these people was laughing at you because you're walking barefoot. Well, let me tell you something, homie. You're not primitive. You're not a caveman. You're Pan-African. Do you understand? Let me also talk to AP. AP, you're sitting at that table right there. Don't ever let anyone tell you that you're a slut because of the way you dress. Show these people what the sexiest Pan-African legs look like. And to Francois, I don't care about the color of your skin, homie. You're Pan-African. Do you understand that? Well, let me tell you why you people should unite in the first place. Now that I've told you how to gain your freedom, I want you to gain your freedom for the sake of what me and my ancestors went through. For those of you that went for the excursion, please unite. For all the Africans that were damned into that Indian Ocean that you went across, please do this for the Africans who were not given proper food but were actually told to eat with cows. Instead of getting proper places to sleep, they were put in stables with horses. Please unite for the people that were hung for absolutely no reason, regardless of the fact that they were actually human beings. Do you understand that? If you don't unite for these people, then what the hell are you going to unite for? Huh? Unite for my sisters, for my aunties and my daughters who had their stomachs ripped open and had those embryos crushed in front of them. If you do not unite for those people, then who exactly do you think you're actually going to unite for? Freedom and unity. We are free physically, we are enslaved mentally. We are not united, we are divided primarily because we hate the differences that we have amongst ourselves. Whether it's skin color, whether it's the way you dress, even if it is the way you think. I want you to embrace that difference, not only of yourself, but of everyone else around you. Let me tell you what is in your DNA. Kendrick Lamar will tell you that he's got royalty and loyalty inside his DNA. But let me tell you what the actual problem is here. You people have pain, suffering, and westernized poison in your DNA. But what you don't know is this. You've got the blood of kings, queens, empresses, and emperors inside your DNA. Why don't you accept that part of your life? Huh? Let me tell you something, Africa. The reason why Romelo is not ready to let go of that pain and suffering is because what we and our ancestors went through is inside his DNA. It's also inside your DNA. And the only way we can defeat that is if we unite as a people. But only that can happen once we're free mentally. So let me end this. In the afterlife, I like listening to Kendrick Lamar a lot. So let me tell you one line by saying this. My knees are getting weak and my mind might blow, but I know for a fact we're all gonna be alright. And this speech is incomplete if I don't use my native language. Uhuru na umoja, freedom and unity, baby!
Amandla wetu. Now, Francis Imbuga in his book Betrayal in the City tells us one thing. There is nothing as freedom outside a jail cell. Jasper says, in as much as you exit the four walls of a jail cell, you are still getting into a bigger cell. Now what am I trying to drive at today? Africa, for us to be free, we need to liberate ourselves from thoughts that the white man is greater than us. No. Sorry, I'm not talking about white men from South Africa. I'm talking about Westerners and Asians and Europes who we have come to believe are gods over us, because they are not. So today, in our topic of freedom and unity, or uhuru na umoja, what we desire or what we seek for is freedom, mental freedom of our people. See, I'm a young female species, a male species, who desires or who looks at Africa in a utopia way, where I see a far-fetched dream, where we as a people can stand on the same platform as the whites and say, you know what, we are great too. We are empowered as a people. We are able to stand on the same platform and talk about development, or even give loans to the Chinese. Why does it always have to be the other way around? Can't we make it? Don't we have land? Don't we have agriculture? And that takes me straight to the geographical look and the demographics of Africa. We are rich in land. We are rich in mines. We have minerals. We have gold. We have fish. We have delicacies. However, just because we have lived or we have thought that the white man is a god, we cannot appreciate the fact that our own are great too. Africa, in the words of Barack Obama, yes, we can. Yes. of the same blood, even if our melanin does not have the same composition. We can accept that we as a people are great, even if we were colonized by these Westerners. Just because they came to our land before us and decided that, you know what, we stepped on Tanganyika before you, doesn't mean they are any bit greater than us. We are all the same, we are all equal. But for us to realize Uhuru, now Umoja in Africa, we need to accept that we are the same. And I implore you today, Africans, to believe in yourselves, to let go of the chains that have enslaved our minds. For you alone can do that. Remember, our forefathers were dragged by chains on their feet and on their hands. However, the societal perception that we have is just but a norm, an invisible chain that we can decide to break if we are united. But how do we get united? We as Africans get united when we realize that despite our social construct, despite our color, for we have white Africans and we have Asian Africans, despite our color, we are the same people at the end of the day. The spirit of Pan-Africanism lies in realizing and achieving the dreams of our forefathers, and that is why we are collected here today as a people. And as I conclude, I'd like to remind you and point out to you that you may be South African, you may be from Botswana, you may be from Zimbabwe, you may be from China, even if you're not part of Africa, but you live in Africa. But despite all these demographics, one thing unites us all as a people: the need to realize an Africa that is great, an Africa that can stand in front of European nations and say, you know what? We are of the same thinking capacity. Look at people like Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie, a strong African woman who did not allow the shackles of the society to tell her that, you know what, you are a woman, sit down. No, she stood up. And that is the kind of courage that we need to encourage amongst our people within Africa. Not only for women, but also for men. For remember, for Africa to be great, it cannot only work one way where we say, you know what, let us empower the girl child and at the end of the day forget the boy child. No, we need to empower all of them. As I end my speech, I implore you as Africans to realize that as you stepped on this floor, despite where you came from, you came here with one mission: to acknowledge that yes, there is a problem in Africa. We are not united as a people. We are divided on societal classes and on the privilege of the elites and those of us who are poor. But despite that being said, we need to realize that Africa does not belong to one person. Mama Africa gave birth to 54 children, and 54 children must stand together. Thank you.
Okay, before I give my speech, I want to say a big shout out to my principal sitting over there, Dr. Ngoni Moyo. Thank you, ma'am.
Imagine if Martin Luther King didn't decide to speak about the dream of uniting black and white. The American dream wouldn't have been possible. Imagine if Nelson Mandela had decided his personal freedom, South Africa would still be under apartheid regime. Imagine if Julius Nyerere didn't fight colonialism, we would still be colonized. Where am I going? We are not united as Africans. Why am I saying so? The build-up to Pan-African saw some people advocating that this tournament be boycotted. Is that unity? So in that on its own, it shows that how will we fight for the rights of the LGBT if we are undivided? How will we fight for the injustice if some decides to boycott? Ladies and gentlemen, I am here to speak on unity. Unity is power if we want to move forward. Unity is power for us to win. The art of war teaches us that the battle is won in the battlefield. It's not won by boycotting. The battle is won by engagement, not by sitting at home. I was disturbed, but I want to say shout out to everyone who's here. We showed unity. We showed humbleness. that we want to fight for the rights of Africans, that we want to fight for the rights of the LGBT community in Tanzania. Because if we turn our backs on them, who's going to speak for them? If we turn our backs for the minority injustices in our society, who will speak for them? As a progressive society, we must fight for one another. We must unite. But as I speak right now, it's still not yet uhuru. Uhuru na umoja hasn't come to part. I know I might not be making sense to some of you, but in unity we prosper. Unity of purpose. If we decide to come together as Pan-Africanists, we are the future. So we mustn't live in a situation whereby we live in a box which was designed by people before us. We need to decide our future. We need to decide where we are going. We need to decide as the progressive society, and we can only do that if we unite amongst ourselves here, if we unite as the platform of Pan-Africanism, so that we bring the injustices in our society to an end. Ladies and gentlemen, as Begimpi Ngwenya, a ghetto boy from Bulawayo in Zimbabwe, I want to speak on unity. I have faced injustices myself. It pains me when somebody decides to pull out of the fight to fight for the injustices. I have faced discrimination and segregation as I grew up. So it feels pain when somebody decides not to join hands in fighting for that unity. As Africans all over the world, Romelo said we are mentally slaved, but I want to say today we are economically free, but as socially we are still in chains. So we need to fight for that freedom. We need to fight for our economic rights. We need to fight so that we can stand and be who we want to be and define who we want to define, and don't live on labels and don't live on names, because we are Africans. So for those who decided to boycott this tournament, you have your right. But who will stand for the LGBT community in Tanzania? Who will fight for the rights of the minorities in Tanzania? So I applaud and I appeal that together we can, together we will, and together we will conquer. Africa is not united now, but Africa will unite. Africa is not united now, but Africa will unite. And I believe we are not united here. That is why we have quarrels amongst us. But if we unite, I tell you, no one will feel segregated. No one will feel inferior because of who they are, because of how they want to portray themselves in this world. So ladies and gentlemen, I appeal that it's not yet uhuru if we don't unite. It's not yet uhuru if we don't come together. So I ask each and every one of you in this house to say, if Nelson Mandela decided to boycott, then we will still be enslaved. So let us not quit, but continue to fight for freedom. With that, I want to say, Amandla Ngawetu, Viva Pan-African, Viva!
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Daniel Obey, and I must say you are all looking amazing tonight. This pants has been amazing, and what I find extra amazing is the theme for this year's pants, Uhuru na Umoja. To me, it represents a very fundamental but big lesson that I have learned. Ladies and gentlemen, as a young boy growing up in a crowd, there was a tradition. When we closed school in primary school, we used to race home, we used to run. So you say, on your marks, a certain finish line, on your marks, get set, ready, beat, go, and we start running. But my 10-year-old self could not keep up the race. All the time I would dash to the ground, rolling in dust. But instead of bringing myself back up and continuing the race, oh no, I have to make sure the dust on me, the insecurity on me, the thing that I don't feel comfortable with must spotlessly leave my body before continuing the race. I did this over and over and over and over again. But until a few years down the line, did the reality flash in my head. Ladies and gentlemen, in our race of life, in our race to becoming the best, freest, truest, and the most amazing versions of ourselves, we face the challenge that I faced when I used to run from school to the house. we fall to the ground and we gather traces, we gather dust, the cuts, the insecurities, the things that accrue onto us. But more importantly, what we choose to do is what is the problem. Many choose to stop and dust themselves, stop to correct that insecurity, stop to wait for some day when they are perfect enough until they continue to move forward. But ladies and gentlemen, a few words I saw on a shirt on a man again in Accra walking by, of which I had a chance to read, spoke wisdom to me, and I feel I should share that little wisdom that might translate into some big dividends to you tonight. Now, the poem simply reads, it feels like it was talking right to me. It says, dust if you must, but wouldn't it be better to write a letter or paint a picture, bake a cake or plant a seed? Ponder the difference between want and need. Dust yourself if you must, but there is no time. With friends to cherish and a life to lead, with music to listen, with books to read, with mountains to climb and rivers to swim. Dust if you must, but the world is out there with the snow in your face, the wind in your eyes, the sun in your hair, a flutter of snow, a shower of rain. This day, 11th of December 2018, will not come again. Dust if you must, but the important thing in this particular passage, dust if you must, but old age will come. Listen, but old age will come, and it is not time. And when you go, as in when you die or when your life is terminated, and go you must, and go you will, you yourself will make more dust. Ladies and gentlemen, when we are faced with that challenge of whether to dust ourselves off, wasting time and resources, and trying to, see whether we are fit enough to continue, or rather, we embrace these insecurities, these challenges that will come our way after all, and continue the race, I implore you to listen to the poem. It says, dusting is a waste of time. Rather, embrace your insecurities, embrace your challenges, embrace your fears, and continue to run the race. That is the only way in which we, as young Africans, can aspire, achieve, and free ourselves to become whomever we want to be. Uhuru na umoja. Freedom in unity. When we unite with the things that we would like to hide or like to run away from, when we unite with these things, then and only then are we free people. Then and only then are we free enough to explore our possibilities to become the best, truest, freest versions of ourselves. Ladies and gentlemen, in all the journeys that you are on, in all the races that you are on, I implore you to always remember that anytime you feel insecure, anytime you don't feel good enough, anytime you feel that, even in this competition, anytime you feel you've lost and that's, enough with the bait, enough with pants, anytime you feel that, remember that you are dusting yourself. It will not help you. Rather, run the race. Unite with all your insecurities, because that is what will free you into becoming the biggest, better, and the truest, freest version of yourself as an African. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, I am here to tell you a simple, harsh truth. Not all of you, in fact, very few of you are going to become awesome, charismatic leaders like Kwame Nkrumah, like Martin Luther King, like Steve Biko, and the rest. In fact, it is more statistically probable that more people here will become serial killers than would become these amazing, charismatic leaders I have mentioned. But why am I saying this? Is it because I want to sabotage my own options of winning this championship? Perhaps. But in order to explain that, I'll tell you a story. When I was 12 years old, living in the suburbs of Accra, I encountered one of the most beautiful experiences I have ever had. It was a book called Things Fall Apart. Now, reading this book gave me some of the most amazing experiences I ever had. I learned about the wonderful, intricate Igbo culture, how superior and intricate and wonderful it was before the dangerous, wicked white man came and raped it to death with his imperialist power. I read about how Umofia used to have beautiful battles, how the men used to wrestle, and how they told some of the most amazing proverbs you've ever heard in your life. Now, what this did was to fill me with anger, like all these people have made you feel. Anger and guilt. What am I doing? Why am I not fighting against the imperialist Western sentiment? What am I doing to make Africa have uhuru na umoja? I began to think like this, and I continued thinking like this for as long as I could until I reached the university, where I experienced some of the most painful things anyone can experience. Probably the only part in the academic environment that is similar to hell, which was pharmacy school. Now, in a class in pharmacy school, a lecturer came in and taught us about how therapy worked. Now, when your lungs are aching or you have a serious infection, what the medicine does is that it goes into your throat and it breaks into the tiniest, most insignificant piece, which just attaches itself to one small cell in your body. And after a few hours, your pain is gone, you're not experiencing any suffering, and you're an entirely free person. Now, what I took from that was, as a human being, as a person over here, probably one of the most awesome people in the world are seated over here. I'm sure many of you have awesome and great ambitions about how you want to become political leaders, to free Africa, to give amazing speeches, to say, yes, we can, and all of that. But the simple truth is, not all of you are going to be like that. There is such a small space in this tumultuous world for such leaders. But uhuru na umoja is still for you, I have come to tell you. Because true freedom and unity only needs to happen at a small, microscopic level to effect the change that you want. Uhuru na umoja is still for you if all you are doing is just hugging the brother you have not spoken to in a long period of time to unify your family. Uhuru na umoja is still for you if all you are doing in this life is trying all you can to study all the romantic poems in Shakespeare and in all the beautiful biblical verses just to free yourself from the friend zone that amazing woman has put you into. I think that uhuru na umoja is excellent. I mean, we need to achieve real liberation for Africa. But the harsh truth is, not all of us are going to be so awesome in our leadership, are going to cause such effective change. But each and every single one of you can take uhuru na umoja and make it yours by doing the little things, by causing change at the most insignificant microscopic level. That is how we cause real change in Africa. By just giving a simple embrace to that brother you've been at a graduate, by trying to free yourself from the horrific, hellish friend zone, by trying to free yourself from that cause that has been horrible for so long and you can't leave because your parents have paid the fees. I've come to tell you something simple. Not all of us can do this, and not all of us are going to do this. But if you take what I've said, if you prioritize the little insignificant things, uhuru na umoja can be for you, and you can be satisfied with the change you've made in a world that direly needs you to do something significant. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeremiah. Thank you, speakers, for your speeches. So I think you can take your seats and as the judges go to deliberate. Thank you.
adjudicator. Adjudicators, I spoke to you about this morning. So for the 10 of you that were here, narrowed down from the 25 that we've been working with, we got the average scores from each round, and the adjudicators whose average scores for each round were closest to the average score for each round were then the 10 that came and adjudicated here today. But for this final, everything was calculated from scratch. So the previous scores were not taken into account. And my top adjudicator for 2018 is Mr. Solomon Omani Mensah.
Solomon.
Alright. And now for my top 5 public speakers. Number 5, Begimbi Ngwenya. Number 4, Maseke Miriam Rioba. Guys, please make it onto stage quickly. In 3rd place, Mr. Jeremiah Seki. In 2nd place, Daniel Obeng. The champion of the Pan-African University Debating Championship for 2018 is Romelo Ngwenya. Mentioned, in this box there is a brand new laptop for the new champion of public speaking in Africa. Thank
you. Okay. 1 second, please. Okay. First and foremost, I want to thank our Vice Principal and our Polytechnic Administrator for allowing me to be here. But this is more than just winning a trophy. It was about getting across what I felt at this moment. But with all that being said, to the 99 speakers that didn't make it, this is my yard now.